This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Number one right now is terrorism, and we are fighting very hard, doing very well under our generals, and making tremendous progress.
President Trump calling terrorism his top priority as he wraps up his first trip abroad. It's a frequent message he is sending to our allies from Saudi Arabia to Israel. Now he is referring to terrorists simply as losers. What should we make of the president's trip overseas, and what about the controversy continuing to brew here at home? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC 7 at 7. Our analysis of the week in Washington and abroad is coming up, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin on Lido Key. Beach erosion has always been a problem there. Now it is even worse after a powerful storm swept through the Suncoast on Wednesday. Homeowners we spoke to say the waves were coming up all the way to the boardwalk. The storm washing away an already shrinking shoreline, along with turtle nests. In the past 10 years, millions of dollars have been invested in maintaining the shoreline, but now residents and beachgoers say urgent action needs to be taken.
We're losing more and more sand, more and more beach, and that's why we need a renourishment so desperately.
If you don't take it early, it gets worse and takes more money and more time and more effort to fix it.
A beach renourishment project is in the works for Lido, but plans to dredge sand from Big Pass has led to a legal battle because of concerns about the negative impact it could have on Siesta Key. A big dredging project at Charlotte County Beach could wrap up in about a week. The project at Stump Pass in Englewood has been going on for months. Workers dredging 200,000 cubic yards of sand from the inlet. At least 30,000 more yards remain. This isn't the first dredging project at Stump Pass, but it is the first time the state is allowing the county to build a rock groin at the southern end of Manasota Key. The goal is to trap sand and keep it from eroding away. An update on the renovation work at Turtle Beach. Sarasota County is completing upgrades. There is now a new playground, expanded parking lot, picnic area, kayak launch, and paths. Work on the project began last year. A celebration for the new amenities is planned on Wednesday. All Suncoast beaches will be open this holiday weekend. Sarasota County and the Department of Health are lifting a no-swim advisory at Casperson Beach in Venice. It was put into place yesterday after water tests showed high levels of bacteria. Today, those levels are now satisfactory. There are no other water advisories in place at any other beach in Sarasota and Manatee. We're learning more tonight about when construction could begin at the new spring training home of the Atlanta Braves in Northport. According to the West Villages, work could begin in September. The construction and design teams have been chosen for the project, and pre-construction work is already underway.
They got engaged yesterday. They've already made calls today. So everybody knows it's a short time frame, but everybody's working cooperatively to try to achieve that.
Contractors have been told to finish work by mid-January of 2019 to ensure it's done in time for spring training. The one thing that still needs to be done is getting $20 million in state funding. The school year is drawing to a close here on the Suncoast, but administrators at the Pineview School are already making plans for a discussion on cultural sensitivity next year. Well, at least one school board member is not too happy. In a letter to parents, Pineview's principal says 9th through 11th graders students will attend a panel on the effects of cultural bias and offensive speech. The school is working with the NAACP and Jewish Federation to prepare it, but the school board's vice chair says the so-called inclusive event is excluding other voices.
And if you look at the organizations that were participating and the ones or some organizations that may not have been participating, I think that it was narrowly focused.
To accept change, we have to embrace change and differences.
The panel was planned for last week, but Sarasota's superintendent postponed it. Pineview's principal says it will take place this fall. As Sarasota Road is open again after a fire forced police to shut it down, the fire broke out at the Commerce and Warehouse Center on Goodrich Avenue just before 1 this afternoon. A stretch of Myrtle Street was closed at the request of firefighters. Crews had to run a hose from a fire hydrant across the street and were able to get control of the fire.
If you do see a hose line in the roadway and it's for a fire, please don't run over the hose. That would definitely assist us.
No one was injured in the fire. It took firefighters about a half hour to put it out. Bob, it was a gorgeous day out there today.
Yeah, temperatures in the low 60s to start the morning off. Comfortable humidity out there. Things are looking pleasant this evening too, Alan. Beautiful clear skies, and it should be a gorgeous sunset tonight. No rain around here. There are some showers down to our south. That's the old frontal boundary, which did bring us some rain a couple days ago. Here's a look at what's going on right now. Full screen, we'll see the showers near Miami and Fort Lauderdale. They've had a little bit of rainfall there. That's the old front. Really, it's a stationary front now, which is for the most part non-existent. High pressure continues to work in, but we're still getting this northerly flow around that area of high pressure, so that is going to keep temperatures on the cooler side again for tonight. We'll see slightly below average temperatures and should be rather mild to start the day off and the weekend off. Currently, look at Sarasota Bay, calm conditions out there, 81 degrees, dew point. Low 63. Typically it's 70, 73 degrees this time of year. So that makes it feel so much nicer out there. Winds are out of the west northwest at 9 and the pressure up there 30.03. That's holding steady. Your evening planner looks like this. Clear skies all the way through 11 o'clock. Temperatures falling down into the low 70s. And as far as the outlook goes, not much change over the weekend. The sustained winds out of the northwest, anywhere from 5 to 10 really. And it looks as though those winds will switch around more to an easterly direction after midnight. And that will cool us down into the lower 60s in places. Dry air in place just in time for the weekend too. It doesn't appear that we're going to have any major changes as we push through the holiday weekend for Memorial Day. Remember, a lot of events taking place this weekend. And there'll be people barbecuing, obviously. We're still under that burn ban, so make sure any fires around that you maintain those and make sure they don't get out of hand or out of control. Even though we got a little bit of rainfall, it's still dangerous out there.
Absolutely, Bob. And we want to give a shout out to Clyde Metcalf's Sarasota Sailors, who are preparing for the state semifinals in Fort Myers next week, where they could possibly face a right-hand pitcher named Cone.
That's right.
Still to come, President Trump is in Italy meeting with the leaders of the world's most industrialized nations. Yet problems back home continue to dog him. We'll have the latest from the G7 summit when we return.
Download ABC7's official Suncoast weather app onto all your devices so you can stay informed wherever you go. With our full-featured weather app, you get weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. The ABC7 official Suncoast weather app, sponsored by 1 Hour Air. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download yours today. We asked you, Suncoast, why do you like ABC7?
I like ABC7 because it's local.
It gives me all the local news, local weather.
It's so local and so community-driven.
Kelly Wilgus does a great job.
John Scalzi, that's my guy.
Bob Harrigan is wonderful.
Stephanie's my favorite. I like Scott Dennis.
I like them all.
We're all very grateful that you cover what you do and you're here to participate with the community.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Come on in, welcome to our pad. Trust me, folks, you're in for a ride. I'm driving, so relax. Unwind, leave your buckets all behind. Get ready to blow your mind. In Batesville, don't be shy. Make the scene, catch the crazy party inside. The hipsters here are gone and dig, man, they're on to something big. Yeah, they're gonna flip your wig in Beatsville. Catch the gig in Beatsville.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
President Trump is in Italy for the G7 summit, a meeting with some of the world's most powerful leaders. It is the last leg of his first foreign trip, but as his presence on the world stage has made some headlines, the investigation into Russian meddling in last year's presidential election moves forward. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has the latest from Washington.
President Trump is rounding out his first overseas trip with this stop in Italy. This is the president's first G7 summit, all agreeing to do more in order to fight terrorism.
This week, the United Kingdom suffered one of the worst terrorist attacks in our history. It is at moments such as this that we are reminded of the fundamental importance of this unique group of nations.
The president on the world stage basking in high praise early on this trip. But then these headline-grabbing moments got some attention. The president appearing to push aside the prime minister of Montenegro. And then he told NATO leaders to pay up to the military alliance.
NATO members must finally contribute their fair share.
But back in Washington, Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner is in the spotlight. He's not a target in the FBI's investigation into Russia's interference in last year's presidential election, but agents do want to ask him a few questions about his interactions with Russian officials during the campaign and transition. There's something else the FBI is looking into, an attempted overseas cyber attack against the Trump Organization. ABC News has learned the FBI contacted Trump's sons, John Jr. and Eric, for an emergency meeting in New York with the Bureau's cybersecurity agents and representatives of the CIA. That meeting held the day before Trump fired FBI Director James Comey.
As for the president's trip, it is coming to an end. He and the First Lady head to a dinner tonight, hosted by Italy's president, and then Mr. Trump heads back to Washington this weekend. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
The president's trip may be ending, but a slew of controversy is awaiting him in Washington. We'll have analysis of his foreign visits and the trouble back at home in the moment when we take it to the trapezoid.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Why settle for less? Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru is the best overall brand for 2 years running and the most trusted brand for 3 years running, according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. Right now, you can lease one of Subaru's most versatile vehicles, the Subaru Crosstrek, for as little as $189 a month, or get 0% financing with complimentary maintenance included. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabeinn.com.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Welcome back. In many ways, this week was a Rorschach test. Republicans might be overjoyed about President Trump's first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia. It rolled out the red carpet as the president urged Arab leaders to drive the terrorists out. He met with the Pope, lectured NATO allies to pay their fair share. Democrats, on the other hand, see a president who failed to mention human rights to the Saudis, offended our closest allies. And then there was the Montana congressional race. A Republican won and body slamming a reporter for asking a question about the CBO score on the Republican health care plan. Joining us for our analysis of the week in Washington is Mark Gordon, managing editor of the Business Observer. State Representative Joe Gruters of Sarasota. He was the co-chair of Trump's Florida campaign, and Kevin Griffith, the vice chair of the Sarasota County Democratic Party. So, Joe, is it safe to say Republicans like yourself are overjoyed about how things went overseas this week?
I don't know if overjoyed is the right word, but I think that, yes, to get him to have President Trump go overseas in his first official the tour internationally, I thought it was a huge success so far. I think he's representing America well. I think he's laying the groundwork, which will hopefully be a successful foreign policy. And I think overall people are pretty happy with him here at home. I think that he's proven, is reasserting America in our place as the world leader.
Kevin, you see it the same way?
No, hardly. I would say, with the Montana race that happened last night, and I will admit that Democrat spirits were high in that, although that's a race where President Trump won the state by 20 percentage points, and the Democrat came up short, I think 6 or 7 points last night. But in all these races, whether it's Georgia, Kansas, which was before Montana, the Democrats have outperformed what President Trump did. So I don't see it the way Joe did. On the international stage, going to Saudi Arabia and doing arms deals with the Saudi Arabians, I don't know if that's a win per se. Those never seem to turn out the way we wish they do. I know the Saudi Arabians are the ones who, in the 1980s, if my memory is correct, armed Saddam Hussein in the war with Iran. It always just gets muddy.
And what's crazy about that is, remember, President Obama was the one who bowed to the Saudi king last time he was there. Certainly, Donald Trump did a much better job. He's representing America's interest, and I'm proud to have him as our president.
When it comes to the NATO summit, again, this is something that people might see two different ways. When President Trump says, hey, folks, it's time to pay up, a lot of people would agree with that. On the other hand, the criticism was that they have been paying up over the last couple of years, and that the way he went about it, Mark, showed, the allies in Europe who we do need and who have come to our defense, that America is not the greatest friend that they thought America was.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's kind of showing his ability or desire to lead from the front. I mean, that's kind of what, I wouldn't say he campaigned on, but what he, sort of his mission, and he clearly did that, it looks like.
You say lead from the front. There was this video of him pushing past the Prime Minister, I believe, of Montenegro, because you get the feeling among the European leaders that America is not the leader of the free world. I mean, they talk about that with the German Chancellor right now. Joe, when you hear that coming out of Europe, what's your reaction?
I think there's no question that America is still the leader of the free world. I think Donald Trump represents us well. I think I think even the Prime Minister said it wasn't a big deal. And I think Donald Trump, and I think whoever our American president is, whether it's Obama, Trump, Clinton, anybody, they should be in front. We are the leader. We should make these guys pay their fair share. They've been paying. But the problem is sometimes you got to put your foot down. America should not be the primarily responsible for the overall burden of NATO and the defense of all of our allies. Everybody has budgets. They all got to contribute. I'm glad Donald Trump is making that a primary point of his visit, because at the end of the day, the question is we have our own priorities here domestically, and I think that if we want to balance the budget at some point and get things under control from a fiscal policy standpoint, we have to do that sooner than later.
Kevin, do you agree?
Well, Alan, the issue here is in the juxtaposition of going to Europe and scolding our allies while at the same time going to Saudi Arabia, where I feel like if it was a Democratic administration, we'd be here listening to Joe say, well, there was no mention of human rights while we were in Saudi Arabia. If I go to a McDonald's in Riyadh, which is a city in Saudi Arabia, men enter through one door and women enter through another door. It's totally segregated. The rights there are something that are anathema in many respects to the United States. And so I just feel like in this instance, it's more cheerleading for the administration and not the actual policies.
The most basic human rights of all is the right of life, and certainly the Democrats get a big fail on that.
Well, okay. What a segue that is. Stay with us. We are just getting started. We'll pick up on our discussion of the week in Washington right after we check our weather.
Fresh out of the box, the Alfa Romeo won us over. We went in skeptical and left in awe of this gorgeous machine. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Watch ABC7's Osprey Cam on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Opera TV. And get an exclusive bird's eye view of Sarah and Soda, our own resident Osprey couple. With ABC7's state-of-the-art high-definition Osprey Cam with night vision, you'll get an up-close and personal look at all the Osprey action live 24/7. And you might just be the first to spot an egg. Search ABC7 on your streaming device. Download the free ABC7 channel app and click on Osprey Cam.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-962-4112. That's 1-800-962-4112. Call now, 1-800-962-4112.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
It does things that seem impossible. Feeling like it could change direction while airborne. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Our analysis of the week in Washington continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Alan, I want you to remember this day. This was not going to happen very often for the next 4 months. In reality, temperatures down in the low 60s to start the morning off with low humidity around 2. Here we are in the end of May. That doesn't happen very often, but a late season cold front, which brought us some rainfall, did do that this morning across the area. Tonight, we're going to look for some comfortable temperatures again. And even tomorrow morning, we'll be into the mid 60s, a little bit below average. And calm conditions out there in the waters just in time for the big holiday weekend. And remember that there'll be a lot more boating out there going on as a result of the calm conditions and the 3-day weekend. So that will not be free and easy to go everywhere you want, because there's going to be a lot of boats everywhere. So pay attention out there. A stationary front down to our south producing some showers near Miami. This, I believe, military exercises. I don't think these are legitimate showers there north of Key West. High pressure continues to dominate the weather over the southeast with fair skies. And again, as I showed you earlier, that provides us with a northerly flow, which is bringing us the cooler temperatures. Have a west breeze now near the coast, but overall, we're going to see that wind switch around to a north-northeasterly direction tonight. 81, dew point, that's low, 63. Typically, it's 73, and that means it's warm and muggy. The pressure, 30.03 inches, and that is, for the most part, holding steady, but high pressure will continue to slowly inch up that reading throughout the weekend. 86, the high, below average. 63, was that nice this morning at 63 degrees? 69 is our normal. And 55, the record, though, set back in 1979. And we're doing really well for the month in terms of rainfall. That was because of last weekend's rain that we saw with the heavy showers and storms around. Lows tonight, mid to upper 60s inland, right around 70 near the area beaches, near the water. The water temperature is still relatively warm, but we'll get that northeasterly wind flow. So places like Longboat Key, that wind coming over the bay there will keep things around 71 for a low, 70 at Anna Maria due to Tampa Bay. and the surrounding Gulf of Mexico, keeping things a bit warmer right near the beaches. Now, winds, very light, variable tonight. And then tomorrow, we'll start to see that west wind develop in the afternoon, say around 2, 3 o'clock. And won't get all that high, 10 to 15 miles an hour at best. The hourly forecast tomorrow looks to be pretty close to seasonal averages. We'll see high temperatures in the mid-80s throughout much of the day. There'll be plenty of sunshine, so if you are going to the beaches, you're going to be outdoors, make sure you load up on the sunscreen. It's going to be not much cover out there as far as clouds go. And the satellite and radar imagery showing a lot of clouds over the northeast, so not the best weather, but this is clearing out. There's another system right behind it in Chicago, bringing some rainfall there, heading toward South Bend. In fact, went through South Bend, now heading toward Fort Wayne and Toledo. Showers out west into Colorado. These could turn severe tonight. In fact, we're already starting to see that in East Colorado, western portions of Nebraska. For us, it's the same old song and dance with clear skies, just like we saw today. Hardly any clouds around at all. Front tries to get in, has no success. High pressure still kind of blocks that from entering. Some high clouds, though, will move in associated with that on Sunday, so I would look for a little bit more cloudiness around, but still it's going to be a real nice day. For boaters, I mentioned it looks great out there. Seas running 2 feet or less, a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now at 84 degrees, and the beaches will see a high right around 86. Tides upcoming, low tide at 9:13, and another one at 7:37 tomorrow morning. Forecast mostly clear, 68 for your high or low. I wish it was a high, 68 for a low, and then tomorrow 88 for your high. Mostly sunny, seasonal. Northwest winds turn to the west at 5 to 10. The extended forecast is calling for a gorgeous Memorial Day. Remember the folks who gave their lives for this country. And then a 30% chance for showers on Wednesday, 40% chance on Thursday and Friday. Maybe we'll get back into the summer pattern real quick. Al will be right back after this. Stick around.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Drive into Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota and discover big savings during the Drive and Discover event. Come shop the Suncoast's largest selection of Ram trucks. Get maximum cargo space and more comfort with a new Ram Quad Cab for as low as $24,999. Or get more legroom and maximum comfort with a new Ram Crew Cab and save up to $10,000. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the week in Washington and President Trump's first foreign trip. Our guests tonight are Mark Gordon of the Business Observer, State Representative Joe Gruters of Sarasota, and Kevin Griffith of the Sarasota County Democratic Party. And Mark, I'm going to start with you because despite what's happened overseas with the president's first trip, the president still has a lot of problems here at home. Just last night, news broke that the FBI is focusing on Jared Kushner, his son-in-law and senior advisor, over not only his meetings with the Russians, but also whether or not there was some kind of coordination in terms of the 2016 presidential campaign. What do you make of that?
There's definitely a lot of noise going on right now. I mean, I think, you know, I make of it in terms of what I write about the business community. I think business owners, entrepreneurs, they want more certainty in the economy, and a lot of those things have been pushed to the sideline because of all this noise going on. You know, whatever political side you're on, he's not able to go work in terms of health care or tax bill, and I think business owners want more certainty in where they're going with their businesses.
In fact, Richard Sterner, our financial person, noted that to us, that ever since the election, the stock market had been on a roll, but it has slowed down because of uncertainty, because they thought they knew what they were going to get with tax policy and infrastructure and so forth. And now that agenda seems to be off to the side because you have a White House that is in crisis and a Congress which seems now preoccupied with investigating that, Joe.
Well, it seems like every day the Democrats come out with something else to try to disrupt the process, to disrupt the flow. They don't want things to move forward. They want to completely undermine the president and everything he does.
You're not saying this is a total creation of the Democrats. You don't think that how the president has responded to some of these questions, the firing of the FBI director, the reported request for the FBI to stop the investigation?
The good thing is you haven't seen Trump tweet, right, on this international tour that he's been on. I think what we have to hope for is let the president do his job with Congress. Let's try to get some of these deals done. I think that his agenda will continue to keep the economy moving. What's amazing to me is the optimism that exists in this country. People are starting to expand jobs again. People believe that we could do better. And I think it's a result of some of these tax policies that hopefully will get implemented. I think the president's done a great job. I think that, you know, I, for one, let the investigations take its course, because I think he'll be cleared at the end of the day, and we could all move past it. But the problem is what I think the problem in D.C. is listen, when you're trying to drain the swamp and change things, people are going to resist. There's a lot of Obama officials still around trying to disrupt him. The Democrat elected officials, I mean, these guys are out to lunch, and we have to do everything we can to make sure we can move the country forward, and that's what should be our focus.
Kevin?
Well, it seems like a lot of these are self-inflicted wounds on the Trump administration by members of the Trump administration. And let's remember, this wasn't unpredictable. Jeb Bush called Donald Trump the chaos candidate, and it's frankly been the chaos presidency so far. Now that we have Robert Mueller in place, I think we should let him do his job and see where it leads.
Let me ask you all this, because in the wake of all these investigations, the Democrats nationally believe that they have a shot at winning Congress in the midterms. And in fact, they have put Vern Buchanan on their target list, which is something that they have not done the last two congressional cycles. What basis do you think the Democrats are doing that? Do they have any polling that shows that Vern is vulnerable, or is this just wishful thinking?
Well, I think it's based upon the national analysis that have been done. I know 538, which is the website run by Nate Silver that does statistics, has put out some statistics recently based upon, again, Kansas, Georgia, and Montana. Those races where, although the Democrat didn't win, or in Georgia they may, they've outperformed what Donald Trump winning percentage was by, on average, 15 points. So I know last night Trump won Montana by 20, and the Democrat lost by 6 or 7. So that's 14 points.
Joe, you're laughing. I'll give you a chance to respond, but then I want to move on to one other subject.
Well, I'll say that the chance that Vern has a competitive race there's zero chance in that. As a matter of fact, I think that anybody to target Vern as somebody who may be vulnerable is completely out to lunch, and they have no idea what's going on in politics. Vern has been re-elected overwhelmingly with bipartisan support. He's a man who really represents the entire district. I think he's not a guy who, listen, I'm the Republican chairman here in Sarasota County, and I will tell you that I think that his approach to politics and policies is not a partisan one, and I think he does what I think is in the best interest of the people. So as a result, I think he's been rewarded with large re-elections in the past, and I think he'll go on to win by 10 in this one.
Let me just make one point. Vern Buchanan voted for the new health care bill. It has, last polling us all, 20-some-odd% approval. The Democrats are going to hold him accountable.
Okay. There is one other issue I want to get to, and that goes back to the special congressional election in Montana last night and what happened the day before with the Republican candidate body slamming a reporter who was trying to ask him about the Congressional Budget Office score of the new Republican health care bill. I want to read you a quote by Congressman Mark Sanford, a Republican from South Carolina, who said today, respectfully, I submit that the president has unearthed some demons. I have talked to a number of people about it back home. They say, well, look, fine. If the president can say whatever, why can't I say whatever? He is giving them license. This is total weirdness out there. Mark, as a journalist, are you deeply concerned about what we saw?
I'd say as a journalist, but also as a human being, I'm not sure anybody should be body slamming anybody else. You know, it's not good behavior at all, but definitely as a reporter, yeah, I mean, I've been yelled at press conferences and criticized, but I've never been attacked physically, and that's a big concern, sure.
Joe, tell me why the Republican reaction on Capitol Hill was tepid about this. Nobody was outraged. The speaker did say some things, but many other Republicans said, well, look, you know, people are angry.
I think a lot of people don't know the whole truth. But listen, if the guy body slammed the guy after a question, I think if that video ever surfaces and it shows that the guy did assault him and he's guilty, maybe he should resign. You know, it's I think freedom of the press is important. I think violence is a terrible way to go. I think the attack a member of the press, even when asked a sucker punch type question, is wrong. And I think the guy should be held responsible. But listen, at the end of the day,
sucker punch type question there?
It was the last question about the score, about the health care bill, but I think that my understanding is that question was not supposed to be asked. It was already asked. He was asking again. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. This guy was wrong to put his hands on a reporter. I think, listen, you blame the voters. The voters of Montana put this guy back in to represent them in Congress. He's there. They elected him, they could unelect him, but even after all that, he was elected. So there you go. Blame the voters.
But you know that there are people who are watching this right now who might say, hey, I have no problem with it.
Alan, that was going to be my point, is that we've come to some place in our country right now where there is a segment of people who say they just have either tuned out, or they say good, or they don't care, or they even support this. And it's, you know, it can be used for political expediency at this point, but at some point down the road, that's what differs the American ideals with countries that have totalitarians and dictatorships. And it may seem hyperbolic right now, but those are the differences. An open and free press is very important.
And we're teaching that type of the attitude on college campuses as we try to stifle free speech of conservatives who go to speak on campus. You know, the problem is
but it's physical violence here, Joe. Physical violence.
If you look at where some of these conservatives have spoken, where these guys are taking violence to the streets, to some of these campuses, I agree. Violence is never the answer. And as a matter of fact, if anybody commits these acts of violence, they should throw the book at them.
Mark, we have less than a minute left, but I want to give you the last word. As the journalist here, are you concerned about where this is going?
Definitely concerned. I mean, I think, you know, again, Joe made a point, well, Montana voted him back in, and that's true, but it kind of loosely endorses the idea that that's okay. And again, it's not okay to body slam anybody, but certainly from a journalist perspective, it's a little bit scary that that's out there.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests about the week in Washington, plus what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, housing discrimination.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you!
2 years ago, my son was born. Now he's running, playing, and learning to speak. When I look at him, I can't help but to see how free he is. I want my son to have the same freedom when he grows up. Protect our freedom of speech, not just for us, but for the future generations.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sports Utility for $249 per month or 2017 MKZ for $299 per month. We are proud to introduce the newest addition to the Lincoln lineup, the all-new 2017 Lincoln Continental. We have a great selection and ready for immediate delivery. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Suncoast since 1978. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Welcome back. What can President Trump's first trip abroad tell us about how he will represent the U.S. to the rest of the world? What should we make of the administration's budget? And is the new congressional budget score a deal breaker for the GOP health care bill? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Mark, let me ask you this. I mean, what are people saying to you about the Republican health care bill right now? The Senate is going to totally rewrite what the House did, and it doesn't seem that Obamacare will be repealed and replaced anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people think it's going to be repealed or replaced, or at least in a big way. And I think there's confusion, at least from business owners. You know, we use the word uncertainty, but I think there's confusion as to what the bill is going to be and what is going to be required of them in terms of their employees.
And Joe, are you concerned as the president tries to deal with the Russia investigation? He has hired his own personal lawyer. It seems some of the closest members of his staff and his family are now under the spotlight here, that it is going to impact his ability to promote his legislative agenda?
I don't think so. I think one of the most important things is to continue the optimism that exists economically to make sure, you know, listen, when somebody has a job and they can be a good provider for their family, that goes a long way in helping all of their problems. We have to continue to try to drive the economy forward. The problem with Obamacare overall is it's a loser, and healthcare premiums are going to continue to rise. Insurance companies are going to continue to exit the marketplace. And I will tell you, as somebody who was on Obamacare for a while, it's a drain on the middle class. You know, we used to have a great plan. When we shifted to Obamacare, a large portion of our expendable income went to pay for our health insurance, and then we had this huge deductible. It's a loser for families. We have to do something. If nothing changes, the system will implode upon itself, in Obamacare will end anyway. But we have to do something. We should embrace President Trump, his agenda, because he'll do what's right for America and everybody will win.
Kevin, you get the last word.
Well, kicking 23 million people off of health care, having them lose their health care, is not a winning strategy, first of all. Second of all, the Trump administration is doing everything it can to make Obamacare fail. The Trump administration has indicated to insurance companies that the $7 billion that they would refund to those insurance companies for covering certain people that are covered, that they're just not going to reimburse. Well, of course the insurance companies, under that uncertainty, might flee the market.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, fair housing and discrimination. Last night, we shared a disturbing voicemail to a Suncoast realtor asking her to, quote, keep it white. While a report from Manatee County and the Bradenton Housing Authority shows low to moderate levels of segregation in our area, civil rights groups tell us they frequently hear reports of discrimination for buying and renting homes. Here is what some of you are saying. Judy Vincent Osfine writes, as long as people pay their rent, they should be allowed to live wherever they want. Mona Farmer writes, they also use that 55 and up designation to keep people out, and they don't have the tax deferral paperwork if it exists. And Billy Brooks Jr. writes, you have to ask yourself, do you really want to live by bigots and degenerates? Do you really want to rent from someone who doesn't see you as an equal but can take your money? Stay woke. What do you think about the president's trip abroad and the week in Washington? Join the conversation by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, you can watch past roundtable discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Mark Gordon is the managing editor of the Business Observer. Joe Gruters is a state representative for Sarasota in the Florida House. And Kevin Griffith is the vice chair of the Sarasota County Democratic Party. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, if you're traveling this Memorial Day weekend, you might notice fewer Florida Highway Patrol troopers on the road. Find out how the agency is trying to address staffing shortages in our primetime headlines.
The Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio charmed us all and crippled the competition. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
When you want to get away from it all, to a place where you can do everything, or nothing at all, surrounded by natural beauty and all the modern amenities you might desire, then you'll want to be here at the Wanna Be Inn on the beautiful shores of Manasota Key, Florida. To plan your escape, log on to wannabein.com.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Alfa Romeo got a lot right with the Giulia, but the handling alone is sufficient reason to get one. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Alan, beautiful out there right now. Get a look at the sunset from our tower cam, looking out over Sarasota Bay. And a beautiful evening anticipated. Not many clouds around, so you're not going to get those gorgeous colors like we've seen over the past couple of nights. And here's a look now what's happening with the latest as far as the Lakewood Ranch webcam goes. We'll take you east of I-75 as opposed to west, and beautiful skies there as well. Clear conditions, just a little bit of a breeze, and it looks as though we'll see similar conditions overnight as fair skies will be the dominating weather feature here. What we have down to our south, a few legitimate showers there associated with an old frontal boundary, which is slowly fading away. And look at the clear skies and not much rain at all over the southeast as a result of this large area of high pressure, which continues to dominate the weather. Currently, we have sunny conditions and 81 degrees, the dew point low. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 9. That's a little sea breeze that has kicked in, and the pressure is still holding steady at 30.03 inches. The high today was 1 degree shy of the normal, and the record high 94 set back in 2012. Well, the winds will be light and variable tonight. You'll notice those wind barbs moving back and forth in all different directions, indicating basically calm conditions until tomorrow afternoon, when that sea breeze will once again kick in. We'll get more of a west-northwesterly wind, which will bring in some milder temperatures right near the beaches. This is basically mid-80s for the beach. Inland areas will be in the upper 80s. Near Parrish, we're talking near 90, as well as into Lakewood Ranch and places to the east thereof. As far as the rest of the U.S. is concerned, a storm system moving through Indiana now, heading off toward Ohio. That's a very fast mover, and this has been a slow mover, continuing to bring some clouds and showers to the northeast from Maine down into New York tonight. And then out west, some severe weather starting to break out already in the eastern portions of Colorado. Futurecast for us, clear going, clear skies, mostly fair skies as a result of this area of high pressure. A front tries to get in, has no success. Another one tries on Sunday and fades away to the north. We may see some upper clouds associated with it, but all in all, it should be a great weekend for boaters who have been shut out for the past couple of days due to the strong winds. Not the case today or over the holiday weekend. Light chop. Water temperature now at 84 degrees. UV index will be high right through Memorial Day weekend. Now the tides on your screen. The next one is a low tide at 9:13. And then for tonight, clear and mild, 68 for your low. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Seasonal, 88 degrees. A chance for showers comes on into, on into Tuesday at 20% only, and then 40% chances on Thursday and Friday. Your primetime headlines will be right up with Alan just after this. Stick around.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill, I'm creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right, we will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call for your free author submission kit at 800-425-5308.
Today, the air is perfect. Inside. Expect more from your cooling and heating. Daikin.
It's no small wonder anybody loves it all.
I just love art that moves me.
No small.
I mean, really moves me.
One.
Sunset Fiat of Sarasota presents No Small Wonder. High performance style. Let the art of Fiat move you.
Now for your primetime headlines, we begin with the latest on the terror attack at the Manchester Arena in England. Tonight, there are more arrests and added security as the nation continues to grieve. ABC's Molly Hunter reports.
This morning, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson meeting with British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson.
All across America, hearts are broken. And I know that we share that grief with the rest of the world as well.
Vowing to drive out the extremists.
Every priest, every reverend in every church, every rabbi in every temple, every imam in every mosque must condemn the souls of those who carried out these attacks.
With security in the UK still at its highest level, armed troops hit the streets and now guard the trains. In Manchester and beyond, the hunt is on for Salman Abedi's accomplices. Early morning raids here, one at a pizza parlor. Police say 8 total people in custody, but the bomb maker may still be on the loose. And new clues about Abedi. He crisscrossed Europe on his way back home last week, flying from Libya to Istanbul to Dusseldorf before arriving in Manchester, all undetected. Back in the UK on his last night, he phoned his mother in Libya to say, "Forgive me." And so many mothers, of course, here in Manchester, never will.
Now, as that investigation continues here in Manchester, this city's still grieving. Here's the cover of the local newspaper, Hail Our Heroes. And that memorial behind me will only continue to grow as people stop by laying flowers throughout the day. In Manchester, Molly Hunter, ABC News.
Now to Egypt, where a deadly attack left 28 people dead, many of them children. More than 20 others are wounded. The country's health ministry says a gunman opened fire on a bus full of Coptic Christians. The victims were on their way to a monastery near the city of Minya. Egypt's president is responding by ordering strikes on what he describes as jihadist camps in neighboring Libya. You might notice fewer Florida Highway Patrol troopers out on the road this Memorial Day weekend. The agency says it has lost about half of its workforce since 2010, either to retirement or resignation. That's nearly 1,000 fewer troopers on patrol. As the result, the number of speeding tickets has dropped for 3 years straight. Low wages are primarily to blame. The starting salary for a trooper is $34,000 a year, and it's been that way since 2005. New tonight, terror at a Florida birthday party. Nearly a dozen young children trapped inside a bounce house as it began deflating. Surveillance video capturing the stressful moment at a Port St. Lucie girl's first birthday party. 2 kids were taken to the hospital. One mother is now asking, how could this happen?
We were very nervous and we were very worried about the kids because it was extremely hot and they were like trapped inside the bounce house. We couldn't really reach to all the kids and we unfortunately had to put one of the kids through the leg.
Surveillance video shows an unknown man unplugging the bounce house. Police say they canvassed the neighborhood, but the suspect has not been identified. It is still unknown whether or not Governor Rick Scott will veto this year's state budget, but in the meantime, Florida Tax Watch is releasing a list of what it calls budget turkeys. Turkeys are defined as legislative projects put in the budget without proper vetting or competitive bidding. Tax Watch found 111 of these items totaling $178 million. The largest budget turkey is an I-75 overpass in Pasco County with a price tag of $15 million. Beyond the turkeys, Tax Watch says there was a lack of transparency in this year's session.
We had huge portions of the budget, including the entire Health and Human Services budget, that the differences were negotiated by the Speaker and the President behind closed doors. And the last one.
Tax Watch suggests that cutting the turkeys and putting the money into the public schools. Visit Florida and Enterprise Florida or give Floridians a tax break. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Memorial Day weekend and a happy start to Ramadan for our Muslim viewers. Good night.